Hi, I'm AJ the AJ. I made an animation that I call 5 Years of Henry Stickmin Collection, and I wanted to do a little behind the scenes video. So that's what this is. So yeah, before anything, I want to show you the thumbnail I made, which is basically just a screenshot from the animation. And if you look at all these thumbnails, these are stuff from my multiple AJ's channel, which I think that's pretty cool. I just do all my thumbnails in one little place, and it's easy for me. Over here is my the thing I did for the live stream, because I did live stream some of the process over the over July 2025, because I did want to have some semblance of behind the scenes. Here is the first thumbnail that I used for a Christmas thing that I don't think that's gonna come out anymore. And yeah, here is that. It's just all I do is just insert a title, insert word art, and then just type in. So first off, I want to show you the full storyboard. I'm not really structuring this. I just wanted to do a little behind the scenes thing just to do it, because I saw another video doing behind the scenes stuff, and I'm like, I want to do that. Toxic Radioactive Locks did that. She did also help with the wiki, so awesome. You're cool. Oh, I made this on the 4th of July, 2025. It was real easy. It took like a day or two, but it was just to like plan everything out. As you can see, there are some stuff cut out. Oh yeah, and the final message, I literally just took it from the storyboards, because I thought, it's cool that I wrote that, and that for the entire project, it was made with that ending in mind. Here you could see that he wasn't supposed to be off to the side, but I changed the angle of the shot because I thought having like the train visible and like everything else just looked way better. And we see this latch on the window. Originally, the idea that I had was that he was using a magnet to like open the latch, and that he would know the latch is there because he used to live there as a top hat. But I cut that out, and I was like, it's fine. I did cut out a part where he looks directly at the top hat, and I also don't think I added the top hat on the ground in the final thing. And I did want him to talk at the end, but I didn't have a microphone at the time. Now obviously I do, but I mean, I think it's better if it just like, you just see what it is. I was just gonna have him say like cool. Like cool. I got my top hat. Like he was just gonna say cool. And then he would walk off. Another thing I cut was like, it was always going to be like the perspective of him in the mirror, but I thought at one point it would be cool to have like his foreground self like walk in front of the camera. But I don't know, I cut that out. I was like, this thing is, I want to get it out on August 7th, and we're like a couple hours before that. I'll go ahead and show you the storyboard project folder. Before anything, I should explain what programs I use. I use Pencil 2D and I use OpenShot Video Editor. Pencil 2D is where I just, do the animations and stuff. OpenShot is where I put them all together. So there were 3 project folders. There was a 4th one for OpenShot, but yeah. The first one was for the storyboards, the second one was for character design, and the third one was for the actual final animation that I would export and then use that footage in OpenShot. So you could always see that he was always going to start off in like this area over there. And that I wanted him to fly up to go over here and into this room. And I also had some reference images on this side. I really wanted to base it off of like these little hidey holes, the little cabins from the airship map of Among Us. And I want to make sure everyone knows this, but the character is Curly Brown from completing the mission, which I thought was really cool. Oh, this is from the Infiltrating the Airship from the collection, which I also like compared to Among Us, and that was a whole inspiration for this room. And that's it for little thingies on the end of that. A lot of these are just screenshots from the collection or from Google, and yeah. Then you got all your talking and all that. Then let's go to the character design, because I did do that a little bit after. So here is my sketch of what I wanted AJ to look like. It was really quick. I had his like really mucus green shoes and these little devices on the bottom of his feet. This is these are the rocket shoes. So up here you have like his full foot, which is supposed to be like, yeah, it's his foot. It's, conservation of mass. Then on the bottom down here is like the rocket. That's supposed to be like what, it flies. You know, it's a rocket. Here's the bottom of the shoe, and here is my little rough drawing of like AJ, who is 22 because he has to be 17 during the events of completing the mission. And here are the head sprites. I drew him little eyes because I like to see them with eyes. But yeah, I only drew 3. The reason I only drew 3 is because I could easily just move the hair out of the way, and with the shading, I flip it, and then that's that. I mean, it's a good idea to like flip your drawings before exporting them, but that's just what I did. And this head shape I use all the time. It's like basically whenever I do a Henry Stickmin animation, this thing is always there. I should talk about this. So in the first live stream I did, I worked on this specific project file where the whole existence of it is on YouTube. But by the end of it, my computer crashed. That's why the stream abruptly ends, and I couldn't really do anything about it. So that project file got corrupted, and I couldn't use anything from it, which sucked. So from then on, I started creating backups because I was like, I do not want my work to be, deleted and absolutely wasted of time. Before I get to the actual final project, I want to show you the progress milestones. I did these every single time for the same reason that I made archives, just because I thought, if anything, I would at least have this saved on my hard drive, so if I don't have the ability to use the Pencil 2D program, I would have the actual files still on a hard drive that I could watch on any other computer. Or backgrounds and assets, I put these in so I could get the colors. Yeah. Alright, let's go into the actual project folder where all the cool stuff is. And bam, here is my entire airship little presentation thing. Alright, so there's a lot going on here. This was my original thing for him, because I didn't know if I wanted him to be like older yet. I wanted him to look like he wasn't the same age as when he's supposed to be in like Precipice, which I don't know when that's coming out. But I did give him a little bit of hair, and I thought that would look good. But then I was like, I want him to look like way older, like his life got really rough or something like that. I just wanted to give him long hair so that the audience could be like, infer something off of that instead of it just being he's normal. These little sprites I made, I didn't make these for this project. I made these a long time ago. And I just made him to like, based off of like how he should look. So here we have the original little, like, I guess second storyboards. Stuff I did like right then just so I could get the poses right. And here I have the background, which is full of a bunch of, sprites and stuff. I have a storyboard base, which is just like, I get all my colors and stuff. And then over all the background layers, I have the focus layers where the characters go, and I put them because, yeah. I don't think I used these top layers yet. Those are for later. And I also have my watermark so that, it doesn't get stolen or whatever. Keyframes. I don't use much keyframes. Like, literally, at this first thing, it's just his eyes moving. Like, it's just 4 keyframes. And then over here is the big ol' airship thingy. I wanted this little segment to kind of tie into Hard by Klaxon, so I asked him, hey, what would the airship look like after, like, what could it look like in Hard after, like, the events of it? I don't know if I should actually say this. I might cut this out, but and eventually I was asked him like, hey, can you give me a little idea of what the airship should look like, crashed in, like, later, I guess. And he came back with this. He told me that these little mounds right here were like the propellers, the big old propeller, some random thing scooting out of it, and that it was like all bam, like all crunched up and like ripped open. You see another propeller here, and most significantly is that the little storage base right here next to the SAM turret would be like caved in because the the tail fell on it, and that's the most noticeable part of it. And I also put this over here just to have like the original quality. And yeah, this is what it looks like. It's all really cool. Thank you, Klaxon. I start off with this little background just because I wanted to get all the colors straight, and I have all the assets on after that. I try to make sure things don't overlap unless it's all like one big body, because if they do overlap, that kind of sucks to like, what if I want to change something? Then it becomes harder because I can't really do that because they're all kind of part of the same thing. Over here, I have a bunch of references simply because, I want to know what the thing should look like. I try to base the caved in part right here on what it would look like here, but I don't think I ended up doing anything. I just, it's that the cafeteria window's broken and stuff. This is a greenhouse. I wanted to speculate, what could be in this big old building, this building right here, like on the bottom, what could possibly be kept in there? And I'm like, well, it has access to sunlight, and the top hats need to eat, so I put in a little greenhouse. You see there's carrots, there's I think peppers, little purple onions, and I don't know what these are. Probably more peppers. But yeah, I wanted to speculate, and I thought a greenhouse would probably be the best idea for it. Over here you could see the door got kicked in, and the barricades or whatever, that they were so broken up. That's just carried over from the previous scene. As you can see right here, the door is caved in and these are broken. The reason that they have this yellowing is because of the NES, how if it got really old, it would also yellow. So I thought that'd be cool to, bring up. And then over here, I have the little AJ, which is like a super stick. I do him as like a little dot. I put a little fire, on him because he's supposed to have jet shoes, so he's supposed to look like that. Then his fire cuts out, and I did that because I wanted it to look like he was losing altitude, and then when he started to fall, we could see a little bit of fire come out, and then boom, big ol' explosion, and then he goes over, and he lands atop the airship. He does a little swing so that he could catch himself, so that he doesn't just slam into the thing. Because, he's got rocket shoes. He's going to slam into the thing. So he pulls himself up, then he lets himself drop. And I did see that it lingered a little bit too long. I think I wanted to do that so I could cut it in the edit. The reason I didn't cut it is because I had music made specifically for this scene by Repulsive Cover. And if I did cut the scene down a bit, the music wouldn't line up. So I kind of had to leave it in there. I'm pretty sure if I asked him, he would have just made me another copy, but I never did. Then over here, I got top pictures of the top of the airship. These little lines right here are based off of the vacuum fail. No, the intro of Government Support in Private Investigator. And I also thought it would be a super cool perspective thing if I were to get like the airship, and instead of it just being like, oh, it's the airship collapse, you can actually see inside of it. Yeah, here is the full thing. The map is specifically based on Among Us again, because I'm kind of treating that as like the canon way the airship looks. So yeah, that's a lot of people probably also agree with me on that. Then underneath, we have this little building, which is where I think the train would be like getting off. So I put this little image of Mr. Macbeth and a little sign saying "Watch your pockets," because they're thieves. The Top Hat clan is carrying a bunch of valuables with them, so it's likely that one of the thieves would probably want to get that. So this is just a little warning to the Top Hats. Just don't steal. And then over here we have Super Stick AJ, who is falling. And he gets his propellers on a little bit just so he doesn't like absolutely eat crap again. And then he does a Super Paper Mario stylish bam, like catching himself. Like he does a little pose. Cuz I didn't just want it to be like a thing. I wanted to have some references, and I was like, yeah, I like Mario. Let me do that. and then it fades out. Then he goes back to normal, and he looks over there, and yeah, his hair looks like Jimmy Neutron. Then we have the interior here, where a lot of the sprites I copied over. I also copied over the window over here just so I can match the coloring and the shape. And yeah, there's nothing really different. These are the full images for that you could see on the window that I just copied over so I could have the little tiny versions over here, which are just little pixel arts. I liked the idea of like sun damage. So this like white line you see right here, it's sun damage from the window, and I think that looks really good. Over here, it caught on fire. Over here, there's like a leak or something, and there's also mold growing in the cracks. The wallpaper got ripped up. There's a cobweb and debris from downstairs because, it collapsed in on itself, so it was likely that something was going to go up. So, yeah. And I also hope that it's cool how the wood fringes and how it looks like there's carpet on the bottom. So I put little white carpet on the bottom that's only visible from this angle. If you look on the bottom here, there's like tiny remnants of it, but you can't see it as well because it's covering the bottom side. Meanwhile, on the top side, you're fully visible to both sides, so you can see the white carpet sticking up. Or I guess the padding. I don't know. Whatever's between the carpet and the wood floor. And then we go to the entrance, where when he opens the window, I had the light come in just so that the scene would look better and so that we wouldn't have like a dumb light ray just poke in the entire time. So I had his hands animated right here. It was just 2 layers. Then he grabs the bottom of the windowsill, and his leg moving is this little collection of keyframes right here. His eyes say AJ. AJ is supposed to be lanky. Like, he's supposed to be really tall, but not tall as in like, yay, I'm tall. Tall as in he's like a big stick person, like a stick figure. He's supposed to be lanky. So I had him crouch down just so you could see everything, and so that his size would be good. Except I don't think I did the legs right. That's fine. It looks good in the edit. And I had his hair move because he has longer hair right now because he hasn't cut his hair in like a year. So you got this hair, and it sways a little bit. But like, what I did was I had the hair travel back with his head until his head made a stop. So once it did stop, the hair, still having the kinetic energy, moved forward. So, because it was still needed to move. So then I just had it move until it evened out, and the final thing looks good in my opinion. Over here, he has the top hat that's supposed to look like Curly Brown's top hat because he is Curly Brown. And I thought, I don't want him to just have like a regular black top hat. So I gave him this little green little line at the bottom, and I think that looks good. Very magician. Here is the vault, which I think I posted on my Newgrounds, and I have this here so I could base the drawing right here. This is a scene from Robbing the Vault. Then we have the flashback scenes. So what I did was I took inspiration from the Among Us hat. I took the layout of it and I got the colors from it, and yeah. But as you can see, it still has elements of Reginald Copperbottom's chain. That's because I believe instead of the design getting retconned, I think he just shaved down the stuff just because he thought that was a better idea. Then he just had the little ornament like pinned to the top hat or something. Over here, I have sprites of his hair, which I guess will be used for Precipice. These are really old. These are from like 2021. And I scaled it up so the pixels look weird. You could see the contrast between his eyes, and yeah. This background I made a while ago. I just reused it because the deadline was coming up, my deadline, and I thought, this is fine. You're going to see it for like 2 seconds. You're going to understand they're in the brig, and yeah. The reason they're in the brig is for something later. But the intention of this scene was that, AJ's presence in the brig and Henry's involvement led Henry to think, AJ is crafty. He got into the brig. I should make him a top hat because that would be a good investment to make AJ top hat. Then over here I have the screenshot for the base, and I just did a really quick little sketch with a little shadow and that. And I have this character who will be revealed later as someone important to the story. I don't think I should reveal her name yet, but yeah, she's gonna be important. But this sprite, I made it a long time ago for the original version of Robbing the Vault, which was actually going to be a collab piece between me, Klaxon, and Tony57, who's now known as Antonella. Or no, Stuffy Ant. So Stuffy Ant wanted to have like an OC that looked like a stick figure, so I was like, alright, cool, send me like some concepts. So yeah, I made that. Here's AJ's hair, where you could definitely tell, hey, these guys are similar looking. I wanted him to like look really curly, so people could tell, oh, yep, that's Curly Brown. I know that the browns are different shades, but I think, it's a darker. The airship is in a dark place. He's in like the jungle where like the stickmen look yellow. So yeah, and we cut back to here. Nothing changed. I have him look down, and he doesn't do anything else. Then at the end, he does his little rocket boots, where it's shaded back here. When the rockets turn on, the shading disappears because the room is filling up with light, and then it goes back to normal because he leaves. He flies out the window. I showed this animation to my history teacher, and he thought that AJ looked a lot like President Lincoln with a top hat. So then when he walked off screen and the fire came out, he was like, oh my gosh, you made him. And then yeah, and then that's the end. Bam, 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 a bunch of text, and yeah, that's it. One thing I do want to note is that the version of AJ from Precipice and the version of AJ in 5 Years the Henry Stickmin collection are two different versions. The Precipice version is going to take place in an ending of completing the mission that will tie into Over the Ocean and Saving the Painting. Yeah, it's not revenged. These two characters are different characters. They do share history, since Robbing the Vault is supposed to take place during the events of Stealing the Diamond, and then after that in Infiltrating the Airship, this version of AJ becomes a top hat thanks to Henry becoming the leader. Without Henry being the leader, this AJ would have never been a Top Hat clan member. So here is the project folder for the final edit. I used a bunch of like sounds from YouTube that I just recorded. And yeah. On the bottom right here is the track from Repulsive Cover, who did the music. I don't know if it's called Repulsive Cover anymore. His name might be Reality Cosmic now. I don't know which one came first, but RC made the track for this thing, and he did a really good job, and he blew it out of the park. He also did the outro music for multiple AJs, and yeah, he's great. And he's doing this for free for me, and I'm really thankful for that. And yeah, I have the sounds in here. I did not do that much. I relied heavily on RC's music, and I put in sound effects for whenever he uses his rocket boots, and then I also put in sound effects for the stylish thing. And then at the end here, I have my little thank you to everyone. I have the credits to Reality Cosmic, to Klaxon for the storyboards, and then down here I have the timeline. So this is exactly when I started. At least I got this date from when the project for the storyboard Pencil 2D project was like physically created as a file. And then over here is when August 6, 931 is when I exported it. And obviously all in 2025. This all was created and happened in 2025. And then I have the special thanks to a bunch of cool people. Easel did, I don't know if she did anything for this project, but she was super helpful. Cooper is also helpful. We talk a lot, these two, on Discord, and they're really great, along with Klaxon. Reality Cosmic also, I talked to on Discord. DQ, these are all little Discord peeps. And, I have credit to my brother, and that's like the end of the personal section. Over here is a bunch of the other people. Spooky Toast, the creator of Arts Mission, I thanked him because I did actually reach out. I was like, hey, I want to maybe tie this into Art's mission. Could you maybe give me like advice on how the scene might look after the events of whatever the series? And he was like, no, I don't really have anything to say. I have Finn22. He's the creator of Kill the Mercenary, starring Deadpool. And I was supposed to help him with dubbing it, and then I lost the time to do it. And I don't think we ever did that. Steve Chrome, who I've been talking to a lot on Discord, he also has been really cool. I showed him a lot of my art on his server, and I live streamed him. I live streamed myself playing his game when it released, Defending the Mall. And this is someone I know in real life, and I say, you all rock, thank you, because they are my supporters. And, you know, where would I be without people helping me? So yeah, that's my that's all the process and stuff. But I do want to thank everyone who helped me with it, and I want to thank you for watching this, and for the 2,000 people who ended up watching the video. I was complaining a lot about it to Klaxon, saying like, oh man, I put all this work in, I put in a whole month's work of animating, and it only got like 5 views from the people who like already subscribed to me. And then later, really quick, it jumped up to like 2,000, and you know, 6 months later, it's still climbing up. So I do want to thank you guys for watching. It really means a lot, and it shows me that my work is not in vain, that there is an audience for it. So I wanted to do this. I wanted to say, hey, I'm still out there. I still have plans. Don't expect anything soon though, because you know, I'm a student. I gotta do student stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching. I am Adrian, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.